¿Qué onda, vatos locos? This is your boy Dave in the 702 for the official playoff. What is it? The Wildcard weekend playoff. It's here finally, Drew. Tailgate Talk week, 19 we've been doing this. I might as well get rid of this thing up here. Good to have you all. Joining me all the way from the city of brotherly love, Philly, Irish, Drew Evo. Man, your team is in it. Shout out to everybody joining us. Appreciate you. Sergio Fernandez, I see you. Walk with Rhonda. Que pasa? Wow. Even better if your team is in it, Drew. Even better if your team is in it. But as a 49er fan, I got a lot of people to root for, Drew. Jim Harbaugh, ex-49ers coach, took the 49ers, who had not seen a playoff game since 2002 and 2011, takes the 49ers back to the NFC playoffs, then goes to the Super Bowl the following year. 3 straight NFC West title championships. I'm rooting for Jim Harbaugh. I'm rooting for the Vikings, of course, Sam Darnold. But actually, I'm kind of rooting for you too, Drew, this time. And a lot of people who don't know, Drew and I have made some pretty serious wagers on this channel in the past. 49ers versus Eagles and an NFC Championship game. Somebody took a pie to the face. Go back and watch those old episodes of the Shoe Shine. There was a pie bet in there one time. Saludos to Carlos and Wiley Coyote joining us. We're gonna run through all 6 games, scenarios, and whatnot, and just have a great time today. Thanks for joining us. Thursday, Wildcard weekend, Tailgate Talk. Let's do it, Drew. Man, I think the game, speaking of the Vikings and our good friend of the show, Speech Impediment Man, I have not heard from him yet. I was going to reach out to him to see, but he goes to all the big Vikings games, and I understand that the Vikings game has been moved to Monday. Or maybe it was always Monday, but do you know where it's going to be?
Arizona.
Yeah,
Arizona.
Exactly. Saludos, SP. Thank you so much for joining us. Yeah, that kind of sucks, dog. That kind of sucks that it's moved to a neutral location to Arizona Cardinals Stadium. Especially if you had intended to go see the game in LA, but that, natural disasters are what they are. You simply can't do anything about that. It's unfortunate. And I hope if my boy Speech did have tickets that he's going to find a way to get to Arizona at the last minute. So that's one of the 6 games that we're going to talk about and run down. Saturday, we got 2 very exciting games. And, I see my homeboy in here. Speaking of the 619, Fonzie 619, very excited about Saturday. Let's kick it off with Chargers versus the Texans, Drew. I just mentioned Jim Harbaugh, man. I don't know if the Chargers really thought that they were going to turn around the team like that, the LA Chargers, but they did. And Jim Harbaugh, no better person than Jim Harbaugh, who did that with Stanford, who did that with the San Francisco 49ers, Michigan, of course. 11-6, he takes the Chargers, with Herbert having a fantastic season. CJ Stroud, now just 10-7. They won last week, but overall, they didn't look that good to me. So let me know what you think so far of this game. Some of the things: Justin Herbert versus CJ Stroud. The Texans are leading this year they've got 49 sacks. They do great pressure. Will they be able to pressure Justin Herbert?
They may be able to, but Texans are missing pieces. I'm gonna, even though the Chargers don't really have only beaten one team with a winning record this year, a playoff team. So I'm gonna go with the Chargers. I think their defense is gonna be a little too much for the Texans. I think Herbert's gonna go off. So I'm thinking it's going to be Chargers by 10.
Interesting. Herbert, 23 touchdowns, only 3 interceptions all year, despite people trying to pressure him. Man, I think 49ers quarterback, who's up for a new contract, he threw 3 interceptions just in the last 3 games, essentially. So I'm very much looking forward to this. CJ Stroud, not doing so well this year under pressure, not having the season he did last year, Drew, but he finds himself back in the playoffs. 20 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. That's a lot. Saludos, Big Spooky. Appreciate you, homie, for being in the show today. Let's take a quick look, and you guys could follow along. We'll go over to NFL betting odds over at DraftKings on the first game. Chargers are favored by 3. That is the spread, over 41 points, under 41 points. The money line, -162 for the Chargers. You think they beat them by 10?
Yeah, I think the Chargers win by 10. I got some time invested in this Notre Dame game because I'm a Fighting Irish fan in college football.
So you're gonna watch that too, huh?
No, I'm working on my ESPN on the app and everything. I got the ball with 2 minutes left, and it's 2nd and 2.
Shout out to Carlos. And he says, damn, Drew's drinking a beer? I don't know if I've ever seen that before. Actually, what is that, Drew? You're just telling me it's Mexican Coca-Cola.
I'm drinking the Mexicano
Look at that.
Coca-Cola.
Yeah, and if you've never had one of those, which I'm pretty sure everyone has, I think Robert Kennedy, the guy that Trump is going to pick for whatever food job or whatever, food administration or something, he's talking about taking out corn syrup out of Coca-Cola, and I'm all for that, guys. Corn syrup is absolutely awful for you. It's awful if you have children and it's in the cereal, man. Just get rid of it and go with the straight Mexican Coca-Cola formula, because that shit is the bomb, that real sugar, real cane sugar. Drew, I'm going to agree with you, and to everybody, saludos to the 619 San Diego, Los Angeles Chargers, the Bolts fans. I think they do win. I think they cover the spread, and I think for CJ Stroud, that'll be the end of the season. Let me know what you guys think. Do the Chargers and Jim Harbaugh advance in the wild card? Do they beat the Houston Texans? All right, speaking of kind of falling off a cliff at the end of the season, man, Pittsburgh Steelers have kind of fallen off the cliff, man. They've actually are rolling into the playoffs with a 4-game losing streak. 4-game losing streak, and you find yourself in the wild card versus the Baltimore Ravens. How many times have these two teams played this year? Let me just think. Let me look at my notes.
3 times. Beat 3 times.
This will be the 3rd time. Yeah, week 16 was a 34-17 beatdown by the Ravens, but they did take the Steelers did win the first one, week 11. This will be the 3rd time. Let's talk about Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson. What are the Steelers going to be able to do to stop this offensive powerhouse? Because you want to talk about quarterback playing great. Ravens have been giving up less than 20 points on defense and scoring more than 20 points in the past 7 games? That's crazy.
I have a feeling that the Steelers are going to win this.
Really? Wow.
I have a feeling the Steelers are going to win this. I think they're going to get it together. George Pickens back. And I think they're going to cause problems. So I'm picking the Steelers by 3.
Okay, you just said Pickens. You think Pickens is going to start? Did you see if he's getting the official nod?
Yeah, he's playing.
Interesting. Lamar Jackson having an incredible season, 915 yards. Rushing yards? That's insane, dude. He leads the league. It looks like 4 touchdowns. He doesn't lead the league in touchdowns, but 6 yards per carry he leads. He's a dangerous person on the ground just as well, man. But you still think the Steelers are going to pick this one up coming off a 4-game losing streak?
Yep.
Cincinnati Syndicate says, I'm with Drew. Steelers were playing vanilla. Very, very interesting. Fonzie says, I've got some bad news. I don't think the Vikings are going to make it because what I saw with the Lions, and we'll get to that game in just a moment, but they did absolutely fall apart in the Lions' backyard, man. So Drew stepped away for a quick moment. Guys, let's take a look at the odds here. Pittsburgh Steelers, probably the biggest spread difference here for this weekend's wild card. Steelers are not favored. The Ravens are favored by a 9.5-point spread. Over is 43 points. The money line, let's take a look at the money line, plus 360 for the Steelers. Man, who's laying it down for the Steelers here? I see Cincinnati Syndicate. Drew's definitely going to do that. I don't see it. I just don't see the Steelers coming off a 4-game losing streak, turning it up in the playoffs. But congrats to all of you. If come Monday that turns out to be the case, you guys will be some big winners if you lay your money down on the Steelers. All right. While Drew comes back, appreciate everybody being in here, everyone who tuned into the Shoe Shine yesterday. We're going to be talking about Sunday's games. Sunday games, we've got 3 games. And, of course, Monday, Fonzie just pointed out the Vikings. He don't think they'll overcome the LA Rams. That game's been moved to Monday, so we normally do the Shoe Shine Mondays, and because it's kind of a slow start for boxing, maybe we will do a football wrap-up show on Monday if you guys like. Cincinnati Syndicate says, my month-long road to the Super Bowl challenge might be disastrous. Well, let's take a quick look at this bracket while Drew is away. 6 games this weekend. Obviously, Detroit Lions, the number 1 seed. Kansas City, the number 1 seed. And when we get to Drew's game, if you guys have been following, Jalen Hurts obviously was coming out of concussion protocol, and he did fully practice today, which is great news for any Eagles fan out there. Even though they've got 2 competent backup quarterbacks, Jordan Love of the Packers also returning to full practice today. Big deal, Drew. We're going to get to your team in just a minute, but I just read, that Jalen Hurts fully practiced today. So he had to do that to get out of concussion protocol. So he is a go. That's exciting news. And the Packers, too. He's coming off a pretty serious injury or pain to his elbow or whatnot. I'd rather be in Jalen Hurts' shoes, but let's move on to Sunday. Denver Broncos, one of my leading candidates for Rookie of the Year, obviously would be Bo Nix versus Josh Allen. Oh, man, the Rookie of the Year against such a talented, experienced guy in the postseason. Buffalo Bills favored by 8.5 points. Do you think the Bills are the number 1 team in the AFC?
I think their defense is going to cost them
This weekend?
No, I don't think this weekend. I think in the playoffs in general, I think their defense is going to cost them. I'm picking them to win. I really think I think they're going to win by at least 17 points.
Broncos or Bills?
Bills.
Okay, you think Bills are going to shut out Broncos by 17 points?
No, they're going to win by at least 17.
Okay, well, Broncos are got an uphill battle because they are going into the Bills' territory for this one. Bo Nix, a rookie, and there's something about, finally arriving at the grand stage, something that Jaden Daniels will also be doing as a rookie quarterback, and Bo Nix has played fantastic. Bo Nix had an incredible game last week, man. He had 4 touchdowns, 321 yards. Had a 100+ rating last week. He's coming into the playoffs absolutely with a monster finale to his season. But Josh Allen, 28 touchdowns this season, 6 interceptions, 101 passing rating, 531 rush yards. I just saw a like button go up. Don't forget to hit that like, guys. It helps the algorithm. It helps us even on the vertical streaming. It helps us tremendously. So let's do that. Let's hit that like button for us, guys. Broncos versus the Bills, Drew. I think the Bills do win that. Man, I'm not too sure if the Bills are going to cover the spread. You're asking them to cover by 10 points. They are in their backyard. All right, I say they cover the spread too. What do you guys have in the chat? Let us know. How do you think Josh Allen? Is Josh Allen going to have a breakout, fantastic game? Is he going to run over the Broncos? Drew, we talked about defense, but the Broncos they've got 63 sacks on the year. They've got like 3 or 4 players with 5+ sacks, man. They've got an incredible, they're going to be able to put pressure on Josh Allen.
They could, but I think Josh Allen, the ability to scramble and everything is going to be a lot of issues.
Yeah, salute to Robert. I see you're new in the chat. Appreciate you being in here. The Broncos had a fantastic season defensively. Number 3 in the league for defense. But in the last 4 games, they've given up over 30 points. So, I mean, I can see why you're thinking of a blowout, maybe that they'll do 17 points plus. Because in the immediate last 4 games, they've given up on 3 of those occasions 30+ points. So, again, let me know what you guys think. Denver Broncos, will Bo Nix be the rookie quarterback of the year, or will that title go to Jaden Daniels? If he could pull off a win, the unthinkable against Josh Allen, man, you make a strong case for Bo Nix. 1:30 p.m. It's your game, Drew. Philadelphia Eagles versus the Green Bay Packers, a repeat A repeat of the very first game you guys had this season, right? In Brazil, a game in which Jordan Love busted himself up on that Brazilian turf, man. The turf not made for the NFL. What's going to happen in this game, Drew? I just mentioned your quarterback was on concussion protocol. He's back after 2 weeks, full practice. Jordan Love practiced fully today. It's a go. Both of these quarterbacks will be in.
I really think this may be a blowout win for the Eagles. I think that without Jadarius Alexander, I think the passing game is going to take off. I think they're going to win for at least 200 yards on the Packers. I think this is going to be a 38-10 win for the Eagles.
38-10. Okay, the spread, Eagles are favored by just 4.5 points. The over is 45 points. If you're going for the money line Eagles are negative 230. Shout out to Chauncey, man. Appreciate you being in the chat, guys. Chauncey's got some pretty exciting news. He's got a new website. He's working on his brand, and he's got some pretty fucking dope clothing line coming out, guys. I just saw some preview of that. Shout out to him. It's very nice, man. I'm excited to feature that on our channel here, that clothing line. So, Drew, your quarterback is back. Let's talk about some of the good things. Your running back is leading this season. Let's talk about your star running back.
Saquon Barkley. I don't understand. I know the NFL and a lot of people hate on the Eagles and everything. If Saquon's won the rushing title, is a Pro Bowler, possibly an MVP candidate, how the hell did Derrick Henry get picked on his first team All-Pro above Saquon?
Yo, I don't know, but on the Packers side, one of his number one weapons is that Christian Watson, wide receivers, out
for the ACL tear.
That's pretty bad, man. So he loses. The Packers lose one of their best weapons, wide receiver, on there. So with Saquon Barkley, you've got your wide receivers fully healthy.
AJ's has some knee issues, but he's practicing, and he's likely to play.
Yeah, definitely. Man, I'm gonna say you guys easily cover that spread. I just see what was that game? Notre Dame game you were watching, Drew? Did you have money on that?
Yeah, Penn State just threw an interception to Notre Dame, and Notre Dame is, let's see, they're on Penn State's 36 with 30 seconds left, and it's tied at 24. So Notre Dame may be heading to the national championship game.
Wow, that's. Did you have money on the game?
Nah, but I did tell people all along that Notre Dame was going to win the national championship.
All right. Well, let's move on to the next game. We just talked about rookie quarterbacks. Jaden Daniels, man, the Commanders having an incredible season. Drew, they got wins against the Eagles. That's a tremendous confidence boost, obviously. But they're playing a team that's red hot right now in Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Baker Mayfield, a very experienced quarterback. What are your thoughts on this one?
Tampa's defense. Tampa has good one defense. The pass defense, not so much. But, they can rise to the occasion when the offense carries them. Baker Mayfield's had a career year, 40 touchdowns, 4,400 yards passing. I think Tampa Bay beats them maybe 31-16.
Yeah, Baker Mayfield with Mike Evans as one of his weapons. My feeling too, I'm going with you, Drew. I think Jaden Daniels is the pressure is going to mount. He's had an incredible season, but my gut's telling me that the Bucs are going to win this game, maybe 34-27. So let's just look at quickly how they predicted, these experts over at DraftKings. Commanders are not favored. Obviously, Tampa Bay favored by 3. The spread is -3. The money line is -175. And I think this is where experience will come into play. I'm rooting for both of these rookies, guys. Jaden Daniels. It'll be phenomenal if Jaden Daniels can do the pull off and get into the next round of the playoffs. But I think they come up short against Tampa Bay. And Bo Nix is going to have an uphill battle as well against Josh Allen. Excuse me. Yeah. Chauncey said prayers for everybody in Los Angeles. Obviously, a horrific natural disaster. It's really sad. So we pray out to everybody. I got a Vikings buddy who lives in LA, and he had tickets to the game. Like I was just telling Drew at the very beginning of the game, I don't know if he's going to be able to fly out at the last minute and get a hotel room to the game that's now being rescheduled for Arizona. Shout out to my boy Finney the Legend, Derek Ware, former Cardinals player. I'm pretty sure that they'll have access to get to that. Derek Ware always has he's a friend of our show. He always has tickets, and my boy Finney has season tickets. So I'm wondering if they're going to be able to catch this playoff game. And as I mentioned earlier, my good friend had tickets to it, and he won't be able to see it, obviously, in Los Angeles because of the fire. But that being said, guys, the Minnesota Vikings completely fell apart against the Detroit Lions last weekend. What an incredible game that was to watch, because the Detroit Lions just made the Vikings look, the Vikings look like the 49ers at Detroit. This was not the game we were expecting. I thought it was going to be a high caliber game. There was many more close games that particular weekend. And the Minnesota Vikings, I know that a lot of you guys here, I've been following the NFC West closely. Obviously, the 49ers are my team. The LA Rams kind of just seemed to pick up halfway through the season and exceed all expectations and walk away with the NFC West, on top of the NFC West, which was a big surprise to me. Robert says Vikings will have a hangover. The 49ers released their quarterback, Sam Darnold, who the Vikings picked up, and he may not even be the quarterback for the Vikings next year. He's had an incredible season, but coming into the playoffs with that loss, and that mental loss that they're all feeling in the locker room, the Rams are kind of red hot right now, which makes me wonder if the Minnesota Vikings are going to crumble in the playoffs. This game is really hotly contested, though. DraftKings has the Vikings as a 2.5-point favorite. Where are the Rams fans up in here? I know there's some Rams fans. I know Sin City Syndicate's been saying the Rams are going to go to the Super Bowl. Drew, Sam Darnold had a horrible game last weekend against Detroit Lions, man. Are they going to pick up the pieces?
I'm picking the Rams. I just don't. I think that the more proven team, or the more proven team, really, are the Rams, because when you got Matt Stafford, Cooper Cobb on that team, Super Bowl champs, I think that in the big games they got more experience.
Right.
So I'm going with the Rams. Shootout.
Damn. Like I said, guys, I'm kind of rooting for Sam Darnold. He's had a breakout season he was the backup to Purdy in 2023, and here he finds himself in the wild card, one of the best records in the NFC. But Drew, you think that even if the Vikings advance, that you guys would handle them easily?
Yeah. I don't. I believe that we will beat them, and we will beat them easily.
All right. It looks like the bracket, Minnesota, LA Rams, whoever wins this game, well, they get to face Detroit Lions, right?
No, I think the lowest seed remaining will play the number 1 seed.
Okay.
And the Eagles will play the second lowest seed.
All right, which bracket am I looking at? Well, anyhow, let's talk about these winners. Let's go over them again, Drew. Minnesota Vikings, LA Rams. Like I just mentioned, Minnesota Vikings favored by 2.5 points. I'm going to say the Vikings win. I'm gonna say that they win by 3 points. I'm gonna just cover the spread by a field goal. I don't know. I got a good feeling about this. I could be completely wrong. I could be a Rams hater. Obviously, NFC West, division rivals. They beat the Niners. I really don't like the Rams, so I'm kind of biased here. All right, Drew, you got the Minnesota with the loss on this one. Washington Commanders versus Tampa Bay. You picked
Tampa Bay.
I got Tampa Bay and Baker Mayfield as well. Green Bay Packers versus the Philadelphia Eagles. How many points again?
38-10 Eagles.
Damn. Yeah, I'm going to say the Eagles can probably beat the Packers this weekend by 10 points. Shout out to my boy Joe's Sports Channel on YouTube. He was supposed to be here today. If the Packers advance, maybe we'll have them next week. But who thinks they're going to advance? Chargers versus the Houston Texans Saturday, that first game. I'm excited about that. I got to have some good food to watch that game. Drew, who you got?
For who?
Chargers, LA Chargers versus Houston Texans at 10 a.m.
I got the Texans. I got the Chargers.
Fonzie says, you don't like the LA Rams or the St. Louis Rams? Nah. But I am rooting for your Chargers team, man. I'm rooting for Mr. Khaki Pants, Jim Harbaugh, for sure, man. All the way, man. Pittsburgh Steelers versus Baltimore Ravens. Steelers coming into this with a 4-game losing streak. You picked the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yep, I did. I picked them by 3, Dave.
All right, guys. And finally, last game here, Denver versus Buffalo.
Oh, I picked Buffalo by blowout.
Buffalo by a blowout. That is all the games for the weekend. Anything you're particularly looking forward to seeing from your team this week, Drew?
Domination. Pure domination.
I forgot to mention, I do have some news. I forgot to put these pictures up. But if I'm out here in Las Vegas, guys, formerly a Northern California guy. Antonio Pierce, Drew, general manager and Antonio Pierce of the Las Vegas Raiders. All you Raider Nation fans, fired, gone. Antonio Pierce seen driving away from Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas in an Impala. Yeah, shout out to him, man. He had an Impala. He was a 6'4" Impala. That's the ride he drove to the stadium when he got fired. Seen on Highway 15, driving away from the stadium in his Impala with his, I guess, what was his severance check? It was a good one. Probably not the right guy to turn around the team. I don't know who is the right guy for that job. But Drew, speaking of the Las Vegas Raiders, obviously the 49ers, a hot fucking mess this year defensively. One of the best defenses in their 23 campaign that took them to the Super Bowl. Almost in the last 5, among the worst defenses in the NFL this year. Obviously the 49ers desperately need a defensive coordinator. Saleh of the Jets was let go. Was he let go or did he just leave midway through the season for the Jets?
Yeah, fired.
He's a hot commodity. Not only are the Jaguars seeking to hire him to be head coach, the Raiders apparently interviewed him for head coach. And the San Francisco 49ers desperately trying to get Saleh back as defensive coordinator. Now, with the 49ers having to look at the Purdy contract, it remains to be seen how much money they can afford to get Saleh back as our defensive coordinator. Under his direction, the 49ers defense was stellar. But literally, there's teams out there wanting to hire him for the head coaching position, including the Raiders and my homeboy Johnny Savage's Jaguars. So very, very interesting news that we're going to be covering. Shout out to JC. Appreciate you. He says, bolt up. Pay the man. Pay Purdy. And of course, yeah, Purdy guy's already the negotiator. He says he wants to make it as drama-free as he can. We expect him to probably get in the vicinity of 55 to 65 million per year. It's a lot of scratch, Drew. Lot of scratch, man. All right, guys, I appreciate everybody. JC, good to see you. Everybody that follows our boxing show on Monday. While you were away from the screen for a moment, Drew, maybe we should do the football show. Maybe we should do Tailgate Talk on Monday and go back and run through and talk about all these 6 games. Or maybe we'll do a hybrid show. We'll cover some boxing and some of the football because there's not a lot to talk about regarding boxing right now, Drew. Pretty much everyone's getting ramped up for shows later this month in Las Vegas. We got Diego Pacheco, DAZN, Matchroom Boxing. And we got the big one coming up at the beginning of February, David Benavidez. But that all is several weeks away. Did you see Eddie Hearn, Matchroom Boxing, Drew, get robbed in Miami? The tapes came out. Yo, Eddie Hearn. Bro, the U.S. ain't like where you from, man. He got robbed at gunpoint, and he chased off some would-be attackers for a Rolex, man.
Damn.
That's crazy. That's crazy. I'm Dave in the 702. Philly Irish Drew Evo. Shout out to everybody whose teams are in the wild card and in the playoffs this season. We will be back on Monday night at 7:45. Until then, peace out, everybody.